The focus on Indigenous affairs in the budget has been described as a trauma zone by a peak body, but the Prime Minister Tony Abbott has defended the measures aimed at the first Australians. Sky News Indigenous Affairs reporter Dan Borscher filed this report.
Improving the lives of first Australians is often described as a political battlefield.
The Indigenous Affairs environment remains something of a trauma zone for our organisation.
It has set Indigenous Affairs adrift.
There's been criticism the budget hasn't undone significant cuts from last year, that funding for advocacy is piecemeal if not cut altogether, and concerns a $150 million buyout of remote service delivery of outstations, homelands and town camps in the Northern Territory will mean WA-style community closures.
Essentially, we have maintained Indigenous spending in this budget, and I'm very proud of that, because while we had to make some modest savings in last year's budget, I want to be a Prime Minister for Indigenous Affairs, and that's why I'm pleased that we've been able to protect that spend in this budget.
It is essential that Australian governments, and I'm talking about federal governments, work with all state and territory governments to make sure that they meet their responsibilities to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people for services that other Australians take for granted.
And there are questions over further cuts and an abolition of the National Family Violence Program.
We are outraged, and our government should be outraged. Violence against women is escalating. Aboriginal women are 34 times more likely to be hospitalised for violent assault and 10 times more likely to die.
The head of the Prime Minister's Advisory Council on Indigenous Affairs, Warren Mundine, says the budget is great for business and employment, Northern Australia as well as small business incentives. However, advocates say more needs to be done.
It's not time to take the foot off the pedal. It's not time to reduce funds or limit funds, but it's time to invest now so we can reap rewards in the future.
Dan Borscher, Sky News, Darwin.